What's going on, everybody? It's Game Master 84 bringing you guys today a brand new video. Today we are talking about streaming video games over the internet. And no, I'm not talking about the streaming you're thinking of. Let's dive into it, guys. We're talking about the good, the bad, the ugly of like playing and streaming a game over the internet, kind of like a Netflix style service where you're literally, you don't have a hard copy of the game. You're literally, everything is going through your internet connection. And the good, the bad, the ugly of that. So let's start off with the good. I mean, the good things, obviously, it's easy. I mean, you're talking about portability. You're talking about being able to play where, out at your friend's house, being able to not have to have a disc, be able to download wherever you want, be able to play on pretty much any device you want to. Being able to do multitude variety of things. Let's dive into that, guys. So, I mean, obviously portability number one. You're gonna be able to carry because, for example, as we talked about the other day, Microsoft is planning on what they have code name Maverick. Maverick is a diskless Xbox One S, and with that, so obviously you're gonna have to download everything or stream it somehow, which they are working on. I don't know if that's gonna come out for Maverick. But I mean, think if you just had something like a Fire Stick, you just put it into the side of your TV. That way you wouldn't have to get your kids a whole entire console. You can just get them this Fire Stick, and they can still play the games. Maybe not, like Call of Duty, for example, but definitely something like Assassin's Creed, Zelda, like a Splinter Cell game. I mean, more of the, I would say slow, but the non-twitchy version of gaming, as far as quick movements and gotta have lightning fast connections and things of that nature. It's definitely interesting. You could set someone up. Think about if you're traveling, going to a hotel. You either have this Fire Stick or this discless Xbox, and you can just tote it around with you. It's no big deal. You want to start playing a new game. You just finished a game. Want to start playing a new one? Not a problem. Easy. Plug it in. Let her go. It definitely has a lot of interesting advantages in the whole portability and the whole ease of use, and the barrier to entry is extremely low. I think it'd be a great idea for the companies involved, which let's dive into that real quick so you guys can kind of see that kind of company we're talking here. I mean, so you have your obvious ones, your Microsofts, your Sonys, your Nintendos. Now, the two that have been getting into one a little bit longer than the other, Google actually has they're beta testing the streaming service right now using Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And unfortunately, I mean, I try to get into the program. I can't. It's not available in my area. Bummer. But you can actually, I've watched people do it, and you literally stream Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There's very little latency. There's very little anything. It definitely is more of a beta, maybe early beta, late alpha stage. But definitely shows signs of promise about what's coming in the future. And then behind Google is Amazon. Yet another, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say, well, no duh situation, but it's definitely something that's like, well, yeah, it makes sense. Especially if Google's doing it. It makes sense that Amazon wants to do it. So it's definitely an interesting time to be a part of that, because, there's all these great things coming. I mean, the fact that, if I were to be able to buy a device where I could stream something, I would totally do it in a heartbeat. I think it would make my life a lot easier. It would make my life a lot more interesting. I mean, you could do things on the fly. Like, I could just take this and just do it on the fly on my lunch break. I could do YouTube on my lunch break. I could do YouTube on the bus. I could do YouTube here or there. I could do, I could have my Xbox games anywhere. And so it's just a really interesting this streaming platform, especially with some of the news we've been hearing, where people wanting to go not so console for console. We're starting getting into that world of everybody's devices, not just my devices. And this streaming thing, I think would have really helped push that. And I really think that the cost of games would come down. There's just a lot of good things that comes to streaming the games. I think your barrier to entry is going to be extremely low, and I think that it's just an overall great idea. So that's some of the goods. Now let's get into some of the bad. The bad, you guys, is things happen. I mean, maybe you pick up a service and they flop, and now you don't have access to your games that you bought, and you really trusted them. So next thing you know, you're talking like 70, 75 worth of games that you have no access to anymore. That is one downside. Now, will that happen? Probably not anymore these days, but we have to at least address the situation. Um, Another bad point would be latency. Like, if I press a button, how long is the delay between when I press the button as opposed to when something actually happens on my screen? 1 second, 2 second, half a second, quarter second, almost instantaneous. Like, it's with the latency issue. This is probably the biggest knock on streaming video games there is. I mean, it's not necessarily ugly because it's definitely something that any of the people involved in the situation can easily fix. But latency definitely does need to be, in my opinion, priority number one for any of them if they're going to try to pull this off. Mainly because if you don't have this, no one's going to want to enjoy playing your game. No one's going to sit there and be like, oh, I pressed A 2 minutes ago and it finally just went. Awesome. Yay. Yeah, no one's going to do that. So it's stuff like that where you got to kind of have to think about it and ponder it. I mean, and be like, okay, well, hey, this latency thing is a big deal. We need to definitely make sure that we're getting on it. Another bad thing would be is, oh, man. Another bad thing would be the fact that you do start steering away from more of that console exclusivity. I don't think that streaming would ever take over either downloads or physical disc, but it could. I mean, I think that would really change the gaming landscape, because then you're talking about a lot more games can go free to play, a lot more games can go free to play with microtransactions and base it off of that model. Maybe really smaller iterations, not so many big dumps. So it's an interesting thing to say the least. That's for sure. And then last but not least, the ugly of streaming. This is an interesting part right here, because the ugly of streaming, personally, I would say, is the fact that you're gonna have a lot more copyrighted. You're gonna have a lot more ripped games. People going, buying them from the black market, just getting them for free, not paying for them, mainly because of the code flying around. They're going to be able to get that more easily. So that's going to be a big deterrent from these companies wanting to do it. Another big thing would be data caps. Data caps are a huge thing going around the country right now with your ISPs. And the problem is, it sounds sweet to stream my game, but if I have to sit there and then, I blow through all my minutes in my first week and a half, because I'm streaming it in 4K, because that's how we roll here. Why would I do that? It's just we would not. I would hate for people to get turned off a service because people didn't want to go over their data caps, and I think that could definitely be something that would deter people away from it for sure. Another thing I can see happening is just the general lagginess within the game. I know that was one thing, me personally, I was an early adopter to the Netflix streaming back when it very first came out, nowhere near where Netflix streaming service is now. And there was a lot of lag, and there was a lot of buffering and things of that nature. And needless to say, it turned me off. It took me a long time to come back to Netflix streaming. We're probably talking 6 to 7, maybe even 8 years before I came back, and that's a lot of time, and so that's something that you definitely want to nail right off the gate, is an easy, smooth transition, clean out the gate. I definitely think with the 5G technology coming in, it is going to be something that's going to benefit all of this, streaming service, and then obviously Wi-Fi, Direct Connect, whatever you want to do from there is obviously going to be one of the best ways to do it. But yeah, that's kind of what's been happening this week. There's been news this week, and I just want to make sure we covered it, because that's where you guys have all the info, and you guys can make the best educated gaming decision you possibly can. So yeah, guys. So with that being said, this is a pretty sweet gameplay. I'm probably gonna make another video on top of this one, because we only used about half the footage. This is from the endurance mosh pit. We ended up doing pretty well this match. I'll probably make another daily dose tomorrow. The daily dose for tomorrow, we'll probably have the end of this footage. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think about being able to stream, like Netflix, a video game to your TV, whether that be through a Fire Stick or something like a discless Xbox One S, whatever it may be. What is your opinion of streaming a game online only? So let me know down below in the comments. Also, make sure you guys are hitting that like and subscribe button, and please, if you do hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that bell icon, so that way you get all the notifications saying when we have posted a new video. So with that being said, guys, this has been the Keymaster 34. We play games to make games that haters gonna hate, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.